Colleagues, let's start off our session, given that we are pressed with time. And the proposal was to be on time. So I'd like to start our discussion on the transfer of technology as an instrument to develop business. The numerous studies showed that developing technologies as such requires a big investment of money and time. And not always it is possible when the economic cycle is on a downturn path, which we're having in our country. And the practice shows that in numerous situations, import technologies is better than develop ourselves. Stimulating the new developments is important, but no less important is to set up the system that helps dismantling barriers that exist on the path of importing technologies. For a long time, we are a pure importer. In 2015, we imported the solutions by 551 million rubles more than we exported, and this is 3 times as high as a peak number in 2013. For a long time, the Moscow plus $377 million, the Kaliningrad plus $30 million, St. Petersburg, and Novosibirsk plus 17. And the share of products grows. We are importing big time, but and if we look at the best practices, I think the best example from my standpoint on how we should handle technologies is provided by South Korea. About 20 years ago, 20 years or 30 years ago, South Korea was an underdeveloped country. They didn't have the R&D. They didn't have any stimuli to develop high-tech production lines. And by today, the technology and economy was just leaping by big steps, and somehow they managed to develop an ecosystem that can process the technologies that came with foreign investors, and by purchasing the technologies that were carried out by Korean companies abroad. If we look at the practice in 2000, in Korea, the first technology transfer was set up, and the initiative was adopted, the priority of transfer technology. Today, South Korea has a network of technology transfer, bank, business incubators, and the centers of promising technology development. So this is the topic for our today's discussion, and I'd like to present members of the panel, the experts who are familiar with this, and Mikhail Ivanov, the head of Department of Instrument Building Industry in the Russian Federation, Alexei Repik, the president of the public organization Business Russia, and the chairman of Air Farm Company, Alexander Ellenson, the general director of Electron Company, Maxim Shurekin, general director of the Agency on Technology Development, Mikhail Suchiginsky, the chairman of the board of Titan Group companies, Viktor Larionov, director of Most Marketing, Mikhail Levchuk, the executive director, Pekka Villikainen, the council of director of Skolkovo Fund, the chairman of the IE Capital. Also, Robert Urazov is taking part. He's from WorldSkills Russia, and Daniel Selechik, general director of Ethanol Invest. We are expecting join us the governor of the Nikolai Artamonov, the governor of the Kaluga region. He promised to join us. And of course, let's start with the government official, Mikhail. The government is carrying out the policy on developing of input substitution, which assumes localizing and setting up the production lines at the territory of Russian Federation that would cover the needs of economy using by our own high-tech products. Within the framework of the policy, a new structure was set up that is controlled by your ministry, the Industry Development Fund. Alexei Commissar of the Agency on Development, the Maxim Shelekin is from this institution, and he is among the ballot members. So tell us how the idea was coined to develop the Agency on Technology Development. To your opinion, to what extent the government support measures are effective? Thank you, Alexander. I'd like to point out that the idea of setting up such an agency came from business, and it was initiated by the Business Russia. We were quite active to support this idea and fully supported it. The thing is, today technology transfer is not just buying licenses and implementing separate technologies or a part into a product. This is a comprehensive activity dealing with adapting the technology, and in our understanding they should be developed inside the country. So the R&D sector is getting involved, and in addition the transfer of technologies should involve the expert training, the quality assurance system. And Alexander, you mentioned the relative numbers on the import and absolute during 2015. $2.6 billion worth of technology transfer was, and the world leaders were investing, or they were importing much more. And in the United States, this is 35 billion, Japan 19, 15, and China, etc. Well, when we are thinking through how to set up the agency, and we were looking at the experience of our foreign colleagues. In 2015, the transfer center was set up in China, and portfolio projects dealing with implementing increased by $6 billion since then. And I can give you an example on other country, Japan. The agency NATO, this is the organization that was set up in 1980, which is a public research organization aimed at expanding the cooperation ties in new technologies in energy and industry. And our standpoint, development of the concept dovetails into the government support program that you've mentioned. If we look through the life cycle of any product, this is design, updating the technology, and coming to the market. The main stage of R&D allows developing the competences that we have today, but if we overlay on it the layer of transfer of imported technologies, that would allow to improve the pace to come to international level and to increase the competitive edge at the export markets. In addition, I think the agency of technology development can be instrumental in implementing the initiative. This is a strategy of approach of the government to setting up conditions inside the country, first of all in industry, to allow us to master and to feel comfortable in new markets, in the markets of new technologies. In addition, we've been speaking today at other sessions about the Russian Export Center, and at the previous session that dealt with issues of interaction with Germany. It was mentioned that we are ready to localize in Russia for Russia and for the rest of the world. So from this standpoint, interaction of the Agency of Technology Transfer can give another impetus to this activity in international area. I'd like to give another industrial example, which from our standpoint is a success story. And at the end of the plenary session, there was an investment machine industry contract executed between Japanese, German DMG Mori concern and Ulyanovsk machine industry. Machine instrument, big potential to cover the big niche on the Russian market. And if we're speaking about the instrument machinery to develop the market and to develop our producers, the main issue today is this deals with the search on activating the component market. We have the decree 119, and if we look through it and we read it carefully, we can see that the big importance is assigned with the amount of spare parts, which in the end product coming the Russian market. So from this standpoint, I think the Agency of Technology Development, my expectations at least, deal with this, that the Russian spare part manufacturers and investors that that wish to enter this business, they will have yet another center of competences that would support them in their activity and set up the required conditions to transfer the best available technologies abroad. Thank you. Thank you. Before I ask the next question, I was approached by several people, and they told me that it's pretty hot inside. We are we're having investment sessions, so if you're hot, just take off your coat and feel free. Coming back to the topic, Alexei Repik at the St. Petersburg Forum, if I'm not mistaken, was the one to say that the practice of transfer technologies is not widely spread in Russia. 1 year passed. Did something change since then? And what experience of what countries into the transfer of technologies is applicable to us? And are there any hurdles to apply this experience in Russia? Thank you. Thank you, Alexander. 1 year, is it long or short? To understand the importance of this work, on the 1 year is sufficient. And I'm pleased when Russia makes something better than others, faster than others. For instance, in making serious political decisions, we can work faster than those countries that were mentioned. For instance, by Japanese colleagues, which I will see after this session. I will share with them my positive experience. It was fast. What hurdles should be covered to make these things happen? Well, perception of the situation and objective factors. What I'd like to say, first of all, the first myth that should be dispelled when we speak about the transfer of technologies. It is repeated quite often by government officials and inspectors, and what's most unpleasing by the businessmen. And they maintain that no transfer of technologies can result in breakthrough. So you'll be fed by technologies which are 2 generations old, and better to just strain the force and to do something by yourself. So We were innovative even here, and we executed a contract with Germany and Japan. So I can tell that this is wrong, because business is rational by the gist. And if Russia is a good place, is a good site to implement certain technology and strategy, and if the technologies grow faster, the importers will come here, and they will make, investors will make the center of superior of technology, if this is implemented somewhere. But Russian market is attractive, and there's a demand for the product. The Russia, by heads of profile executive bodies of regional, can require, insist, help business to develop the format of dialogue and partnership under which these fears will be groundless. The last thing that I'd like to touch on, where to find. I think the General Director of the agency will tell us, and he mentioned 5 priority countries, and I think that business to open technologies is not sensitive to their passport or their location. As you know, where music is loved, regardless whether it's composed by German, Japanese composers. If technology is critical, sufficient to make a step forward, we will make use of it, rest assured. And this is a pretty straightforward business idea, which is requires scaling up and acceleration. This is the reason according to which we were super active in requesting President and government to set up the agency. The agency has been set, so the transfer will be there. Thank you.
So, Alexei?
Thank you, Alexei. I would like to now switch to regional aspect, because we have regions which are champions in the technology transfer implementation. And here I'm speaking about Kaluga region, which was successful in attracting investors and having the wide range infrastructure. And not many regions. Russia cannot boast with so many regions as the Kaluga region is, which is ready for technology transfer. Anatoly, investors, what are they asking you today? I mean, those companies which have technologically developed projects, how to motivate the flagship investors in terms of new developments. Thank you. Apart from answering your questions, I would like also to touch upon a couple of other aspects. Well, I'll start with the respond. What our flagship investors are asking this backdrop of the shrink market. First of all, support in export the production that they produce. And here I would like you to attentively think about this. Why? Because when the producer starts exporting his production, he has to include in his production technologies of the new day, and even better, the technologies of tomorrow. And we have immune ourselves by doing so when we place the localization in Russia. We immune ourselves against the technologies of yesterday. So the conclusion is we have to, by all means, support export, and not only for those from other countries, but also for local producers. And this is our main, should be our main goal. And tomorrow, during the meeting that Medvedev will be presiding, I hope that we will touch upon this issue. Well, the technologies, we have a lot of advanced technologies in comparison with foreign ones. Especially, this connect to military sector, defense sector, and there are some specific developers who really have this knowledge, but they make them up thanks to the state money. And when we speak about transferring this very technology to another producer or a similar technology, another question arises. This person says, "This is my asset, and I'm not going to share it with anybody." So and here we have monopolists who produce some parts, for example, some spare parts, whatever, and they increase price for these parts, and as a result, this production cannot find its user, its consumer on the local market because of high prices. And the second point regarding the scientific developments made locally, made by investigative institutions. Of course, business should participate in the research programs, state-financed research, and business knows better what it needs. But often it happens that it doesn't have the possibility or opportunity to buy what it needs in other countries. And this businessman, just nobody asks him what he wants and what he needs. Allow me to remind one genetician when his students came to him and said, "Oh, we came up with something which is new, which is unique." He used to say, "You know, everything has already been invented," because he was really knew that it was so, and it happened so in Russia too. And it would be better to borrow it, just rather than reinvent the wheel. And when we acquire these technologies, we have to, first of all, acquire the thing that is not expanded in other countries. Otherwise, it's not a technology of tomorrow. Well, China, let's take China, big market, 1.5 million people. We cannot ignore this market, nobody cannot. And it can dictate, produces its own requirements by saying, for example, place your facilities, production facilities in China, and etc., and your R&D as well. But, well, our market is not as large as the Chinese one, but anyway, it is a big one. But anyway, we have to be insistent in order to switch this scientific research and studies, and in cooperation with our developers, to put this on the workable rails. Let's take pharma industry. Well, there are a lot of international companies that are striving to get into Russian market and would like to have their own share, of course, in the local market. But, well, this can be done, and they can enjoy some preferences, but we have to have some substances, chemical substances, to be produced, for example, entirely in Russia, especially if they are invented in Russia and registered, certified in the Russian Federation. It is important, especially for those who have already done technology transfer, to provide guaranteed market. Sometimes, very often it happens that company invests money, switches the most revolutionary technology to our country, well, sometimes for very big money, taking risks, and then happens that state or municipal consumer simply avoid its production. And this is not the way. And we have to involve here ministries which are involved in this area to avoid such things. Thank you. As for localization, there have been a lot of events on localization. For example, in March in St. Petersburg, conference on successful cases in facilities or production localizations. And Alexander Ellinson said that this transfer of technologies simply to Russia, this is an impasse. Technologies in transfer of technology in medicines, for example, is so fast. Then when we have this 3-year time frame for technology transfer, we can simply be left behind of the schedule. So what, Alexander, what are the best ways in order to catch up with this technological retrospect? And to be in line with international producers? Well, to understand, first of all, this sector we are working in is a very high tech, and the life cycle of a product is just 5-6 years, not more. Well, 6 years, that is the a long lever. And during its life cycle, as a rule, it takes some changes. Our portfolio consists of 2 parts. First is products that we produce, historically speaking, which is within our competency. And after the national project called Health, well, our task was to just to expand, and we understood that we cannot do everything by ourselves alone, because there was a question of competences as well. And when we started analyzing the market and its peculiarities, we understood that when each company come to this or that mortality, we got rid of those who were successful, or those who have had a very long way of functioning on the market, and step by step they succeeded, or they just bought another company, a player on the market and ready competences. Therefore, for us, when we speak about technology transfer, the first question is what we are going to localize, product or competency. And I'm sure that as for product, here is a dead-end story. And I have a lot of examples when people switched transferred production. Have you ever seen one foreigner without a guaranteed market really wanted to transfer something somewhere? Well, I don't think so. When there is a market, there is a demand, it's understandable. When there is no demand, so it's a dead end. That's why we chose competency transfer and prepared a lot of projects that are successful now, and I'm ready to share our best practice. In 2009, we launched the project on innovative partnership, so full cycle partnership with Philips company, was aimed to produce computer tomographies. That was a very big format. big format project. Philips had to remodel a lot of procedures for this to this end. A lot of documents, you know, they all have the same problems as far as, I mean, state regulation is concerned. So we agreed upon one new project and started producing new project. Well, the question was, did we have competences to produce computer tomography? So first we tried to make computer tomography, and we understood that we cannot do so. It's beyond our competency, and we faced a lot of hurdles and questions, and we understood that 100% this is not the way for us. But anyway, we were not a newcomer on the market, and we understood what market was waiting, what is expecting from us, and we faced the question of the medical equipment. And at that time, there were a lot of equipment on the market, and our target was to start producing something of a very serious matter. And it was clear that international companies generated the biggest margin on the local market, and our aim was to start producing CT, computer tomographers, and so that to provide them to all local medical consumers. So we came up with this project with Philips, and we had to change the specifications, and 70% of spare parts, and now I can say that this project is nice, statistics is good. And how it changed us, this project, how it changed us. So what is this technology? We get deeper into this so-called club, because the number of such companies producing such things is unlimited, and the level of our competence has changed. And in 5 years, we stopped our cooperation with Philips, and today we continue producing our products without Philips. Now we are equipped with a set of competences. Now we can speak with the supplier of parts that we need for the production of computer tomographers. And now we also are tapping into new modalities, new areas where we didn't have competences before. Well, now let's touch upon the question of export. Question number one. We are, unfortunately, we're not China, and we don't have a big market as the Chinese one. Our local demand, internal demand, is not enough. That's why, in order to tap into the export, we have to start producing next generation products with added value and competitive on the foreign market, international market. The products, as we call them, organic, I mean those that we started producing from the scratch, and now we have a 10-year experience producing such products, and they have export potential. And those products that are non-organic portfolio, like ultrasound equipment or computer tomography, we understand that in some years we will be ready maybe to start producing products with export potential and with no geographical limitations. So that is why we stem from the fact, when we speak about transfer, first of all, transfer of competency, it's not that easy. It's important to have a basis on which you can plant these competences to be a full cycle company or producer as we are, because in this case it's easier to speak with foreign partners, with potential foreign partners, because the whole cycle is the same as the framework, legal framework is practically the same and harmonized in Russia. And if you have this basis to plant competences, so therefore the rest is a question of a strategy. As for money, of course, that's for sure. But if you don't have competency, if you don't have this breeding ground, well, it's useless. You can fail. You may fail. Recently, we have seen a lot of international companies here which take interest in buying some components. But some people understand, okay, well, we're ready to buy, but we also need some year upgrade for future. I mean, we cannot survive without this. So without R&D, this is just futile. And the second is that it should be done not with product but competences. And three, if you don't think about export, and you have a very short project, short-term, and launch some facilities production, but as for independent generation of products within years to come, well, we will fail here. A short example. It's not necessary to choose transfer way. Let's take China. We've been working with China for we've been exporting to China for 15 years. Well, just a very short example that they did. A very small market, mammography market. I mean, the breast cancer here. Well, the US is a champion in this area. And but China tasks themselves with the following: screening system on mammography. Can you imagine the number of the Chinese population and mammography checkup yearly? And what Chinese did?
The announcement was made back in 2008, and the announcement headed that we will start the program in 2013, buying only local products. No ordinance of the government was issued by saying just what preference will be. They just said we will buy anything that produced in China. As a result, so all those who before that were thinking that or saying that we would never transfer technology, they would steal everything. All of a sudden, overnight in 2011, these companies were there because you should spend 2 years to certify a product, and which is typical in 2011. The Chinese manufacturers were there. Were they high-end? No. Are they high-end today? No. But 7-8 years down the road, they will be producing just a mammograph, which is on par with Western, and they're buying much equipment, so the market is a major driver. So when we say that when we're discussing any transfer or just carrying over, we end up with discussing the market. When we started discussions with Philips, everybody started speaking about the offsets, and the 94 ordinance was issued, but it doesn't fly. So all these things are interrelated. It's a very interesting story. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to give floor to Maxim Shaleikin. The agency was set up in May 2016. And before the forum, the format of today's session was discussed, and Maxim said that the agency TTA is the payroll is not that much. Only 7 persons are permanent, but the tasks were of strategic caliber. So the number of license agreements should be agreed to provide the grounds to transfer technologies for various projects, to increase the competence age of Russian companies, to engage them into technology updating. So the question to you: what objectives you set for the next 3 years? So what you'd like to have over these 3 years, and are the companies from real sector of economy interested to interact with you, with your agency? Thank you, Alexander. In May, the ordinance of the government was enacted. So in January 1st, we will start working in earnest. So it takes time in Russian Federation. So Alexei Repin was partially right. I would agree with Anatoly Dmitrievich and Alexander Alanson, because on many occasions we discussed this topic, but there's another view and another truth. The agency is called the Technology Development Agency. Unfortunately, technological development is not dependent on the companies that are working in Kaluga and Alanson's company, which is well developed. The technology development in Russian Federation is dependent on the majority of enterprises and the workers who are paying into taxes into the budget. They can make a single product, but dozens of thousands is not possible because they don't have the tooling or business model. So I chosen and agreed with Dvorkovich committee. The strategic ideas were endorsed. The strategy audience, the majority of enterprises in different industries, ranging from agriculture to high-tech, which are behind the analogies on the production level, on efficiency level, on the cost and overheads. So I would underscore this is a majority of the enterprises which are well behind their foreign counterparts. The breakthrough is required. So the missing of the basis technologies is lying on our pocket, and that's good that Russia is doesn't have money, because the time has come to stop paying from our pocket, and 400,000 of millions of overheads, and none of economies can resist existence of such enterprises. So I fully agree that there's no use investing into these enterprises. This is the pocket with a hole. So if you ask me what is the task for the next 3 years, take 10 projects to show that the hole in pocket can be mended, to re-image, to reformat the production processes based on flexibility of production. So these customers exist in the industry. The companies can address us asking for consulting at the transaction support in the investment stage and at the stage of development. Let's take the transfer of technologies aside, because when I was speaking about our customers, the technology transfer disorients them. They don't understand what we're talking about. When we're speaking about the buying license, placing order for engineering, delivery of equipment, about the setting up joint venture, this is closer to what Alexander mentioned. When we speak about the joint project on developing the trans-border, the team composed of Russian and foreign engineers, then the enterprises understand why the agency exists and why is useful. When I spoke today, the Mr. Bushin, hygiene industry, Mr. Bushin said, Alexander said, just, we are having a supportive the agency is. So this is the target audience for us. We are not financing institute, and I hope that so far we are consulting lobbying organization that would allow companies that are interested in upgrading their production lines to find the right technologies, and we will help them in doing that. So, but what we are offering to our foreign partners, we're offering them niches. They don't understand when we say just, we want to do something, just come to us. We have a favorable climate, and the investment legislation is the best. Until recently, investors were buying the sites, the administration, the tax holidays, investment climate. I went to the Far East, and the situation was absolutely different. The investors were saying to me, just give us a partner and a niche. And I didn't have a clue as a federal official, how can I provide them with a project partner and the niche, because the officials are not capable to discuss things in this manner. So when I speak about localizing solutions here, we speak about the niche, and the niche is 40,000 just asynchronous motors with a power rating 5 kilowatts. In 3-year time, the Russian conveyor belts will start producing electric traction automobiles, and they require engines 150 200 kilowatts. We are not producing, so we will have to import them. So we have to aggregate the demand. We brought these foreign companies into Russia, and we are at a deadlock. And so just there's no point developing such big number of car-making plants. And this is the task of the agency to handle these issues. So we're sitting at the interface. So what is the word? Just tie between the regions, because the technology solutions are developed in regions, between just international providers, between co-investors. So at the end of the day, we are just KPI the investment capacity, implementing the technology that we're implementing, and for Russian companies we are assistant, and this is less risk for them to carry out with our assistance, and for regions we are helping to find the niche and investors, and for Russian customers from Ministry of Trade, we are developing the network of outsourcing for assembly lines, because in their model there is a source of their losing competitive edge, which we pay for it. So if the agency is set up, I will be frank with you, our leaders are a bit behind the scale providing our right resource, but we are not waiting. We have 7, 8 people who are actively working, and they will, if as soon as the money is available, next block. No, you don't. You are not paid. You don't have wages. As Mr. Trutnev, Mr. Trutnev's, my previous boss said just he said, if all federal bodies were working like you, good luck. Next issue. Titan group of companies are investing heavily into buying new technologies. In 2016, the company Omsk Caoutchouc is planning to spend about 1 billion rubles on upgrading and funding will be provided partially through the Fund of Industrial Development. But it's worth saying that the major part of equipment that's installed in the petrochemical complex is produced abroad, and technologies are not available on the Russian market. So my question to Michael is the following. You, as a client of the company producing the petrochemical equipment, do you spot the Russian companies being behind? And if it's available, it's visible, what are the root causes? Well, just Russian companies are behind, and that's why we're buying, we're importing the part of equipment. But it's worth mentioning that if our machine industry plants were supported by the government in a bigger, to the bigger extent, I think that due to the fact that the people who are making tools and design engineers, we still have them. So if the defense industry shares with the designers with us in a civil industry, and I think that we would be in a better position to catch up and increase the number of position of equipment purchased abroad. It's a very interesting topic. If you allow, I would like to slightly deviate from the question you asked, or just try to answer it from a different standpoint. The technology transfer, and to speak about the cutting-edge technologies purchasing. Of course, I'm supporting Alexei Lepik that nobody will be sharing these technologies with us, and in any case, these technologies are kept for themselves. What we are buying here, partners of the foreign, they're just developing the next generation or the 2 generation ahead, so that they are 2 steps ahead of us. But speaking about the 1 billion worth purchasing of technology, we are buying abroad. Simple trays for column, for towers that can be used in the towers that are manufactured by our companies at petrochemical plants. So the trays can be accommodated into the vessels, but the approach of Western companies is that they're selling you trays and catalysts, so you don't have to prepay for the product, and so you pay 50 to 70% of the sum, and by this 5-7 years, the new catalyst will be developed for the same upgraded technologies. So we are quickly brought to making next step. We're discussing these topics, but we're staying away from looking for a way out, how to become the China, Singapore, or South Korea. Setting up the enterprise, little people have a potential to develop the R&D or interact with the still alive R&D centers, which are living through the last days, as they are disconnected if there is no resource from the feed, but from the funding source that would allow to promote them technology they develop. And if even the ideas get synthesized, there's not a single pilot installation or a semi or scaled up installation to streamline technology is available. Recently I visited US, and we're purchasing alkylation isopropyl benzene bring acetone into isopropyl alcohol. Our technology, 12 rubles on the transferring acetone into isopropyl, and 12 rubles our budget. Just know what we buy, and our costs are the same. But I'm curious, and I asked to visit the R&D. It took us about 2 hours to drive from Boston, and I just give me a walk through, give me a tour, and by our standard that we're just developing the, it's a small shelter, small hut, single-story building, but it's well designed with the installation. They have 8 installations there, and they can use the modern equipment to test 5 process technologies in each installation. And this is run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there is a Singapore person, the guy from Malaysia, from a Japanese technician is working, a person from Slovakia. They brought the brain, and they pay just not big money, but they just don't need more people and don't need to pay more. So we don't have such an availability. So this is good that the new agency was set up. It will find its competence niche. This will be the agency in the nearest time. We'll find out what technologies are required for today, and the base technology should be developed in Russia. Well, for instance, the Minister of Agriculture takes floor, and he said by 2020, 40 million tons of grain will be exported. The yield will be higher. We're just applauding him, but we are following the same beaten path. We don't have to export. We have to process. Just similar to the oil situation, Euro 5. There's no added value. Just know the next step is we have to increase the price of gasoline. Where is petrochemistry? Petrochemistry is overlooked. So today, take Sibor. And there was a 4th forum. The Razumov made a report. They made a great deal over the last 4 years. But who is selecting after them? We're blind here as well. We're just setting up the new technologies. Yes, we will produce, and tomorrow will be offered the new catalyst.
Because even if we take into account the technologies that we have right now, even now we have to understand that we have to have the same number of workers for the same technology. Because how it happens that we have the same technology that is used in other countries, we hire 5 times more workers. So our state, once more, I'd like to say that because last year we had this opportunity to have a speech before Dmitry Medvedev. The state has to give the decision to the facilities and to remove different types of tax burden, and this will be the way to restore the initiative, lost initiative, and to get back those who can create. As we say in our Ministry of Finance, we're not going to calculate our losses. And we don't have to think about 40 million tons of grain export. We have to think about its processing. Think about the export of end product which is already ready. And we don't have to look at others experience. Besides, we have R&D. And don't forget about that we have expenses at no limitations, of course. You understand, for example, we need 50 people to have a good lab, 150 million of equipment, but who can do so? And we don't have this 50 people, we just need the two competent people who really know the subject and can manage such labs. We have a lot of bright minds and give an equal access to all, especially in regions which are in short of money. All regions pay taxes. Why not to support them with money? And what was the reaction of the state? Well, Mr. Medvedev supported everything that was said. But again, we are waiting. We're expecting for a year, but nothing's changed. Discussion was there was discussion. There was support, and Medvedev just signed a new decree. So that clusters may have less burden. Well, in terms of processing, production, well, I mean, anyway, well, we are developing, and there are some developments, but unfortunately not so quick. Question to Larionov. You are working with regional authorities and regional organizations in terms of new concepts, in terms of within clusters of innovative policies. What are the barriers? What are the hurdles on the regional level which really hamper your development, your innovative technology transfer in regions? Thank you. Thank you for your question. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Well, the first part of I'm going to cover in the second part of my speech, cover the new models of development. So we all remember the golden words said by one of our movie heroes, that we have the problems only in our minds, and there are a lot of regions where governors are ready to work, ready to innovate. And here it would be naive to expect that regions, well, will be drivers for the positive development in terms of technology transfer. Beneficiaries will be not regions, but concrete business, specific business, well, independently or within some clusters or other infrastructural projects. So what I would like, what would I like to focus? There are the register of industrial parks, comprising more than 100 industrial parks. More than 50% of them are very low specified. And if you look at services that they're making money on, whether they are private or state-owned, well, classic, well, rent, access to gas, waste management, and, well, utility-like things. If we look at what the managing agency make money on, for example, in industrial parks in Korea or in Germany, the picture is different. And the provide such services as, for example, access to lab equipment in terms of technology transfer. But okay, why not to do the same in Russia? And sometimes here, our industrial parks, they refer to regulatory bases. But nobody wrote that these parks are not allowed to provide such services. This is the good illustration of the statement that the number of facilities in regional with good competences is rather limited. And for the Agency of Technological Development, the main aim will be not regions but industrial parks. As to a model for the Agency of Technological Development, just a few additional words. Today, on the market, we see that Technological Development Agency is acting like a super consultant. I think that Maxim can be proud that the team of 7 people who are perceived as super consultants, able to solve the most difficult problems. But in practice, we see that the agency is trying to become a promoter, lobbyist, or integrator, as you like, thanks to the interaction with a great number of partners for the transfer and competence and technology, for the technology and competency transfer. So what do they do? Well, it's like you consult in accordance with the best technologies, best international technologies. Then in this case, your partner is a specific international organization. Then you have this key area. In other words, well, if there is a project, it should be financed. I want to say that if the project, which is linked to the technology transfer, it is clear, it has a very clear plan for commercialization. I mean, the business scheme is very clear, and to finance it is to find money to finance it is not an easy task. For example, one of the companies voiced today, they support such projects, and after that they attract money from the related organizations, both local and international. But the problem here is of another nature. Very often it happens that companies do not have clear-cut business models. Accordingly, I'd like to finish with what I started. The method of industrial parks. It's clear that this is very critical for Russia. But this information technology, they should be ready to show where is the best place to develop an industrial park. After the full cycle, when the project is ready to be implemented, it came back to this industrial park, which is not good. Thank you so much. I would like to those who didn't have speech yet, please, we have only 20 minutes, so not more than 5 minutes. Please, we have to finish at past 6. Okay, our next speaker left the hall. All right, now you have 6 minutes for your address. Well, Pekka, well, a question. So you're working in Finland, you have a good experience, and you're working in Russia in the project in innovative sphere, and foreign companies, you see, they're not so quick to come to Russia with innovative technologies and products. And frankly speaking, it seems like they don't want to sell them. Is that right? And is it possible to attract them through some project offices? What is the problem in our country? I mean the problem in the use of R&D functions.
I think, first of all, I disagree with you. I think that there is no problem of having new technologies here. Honestly speaking, I don't see any problem there. But I actually want to comment some of the comments before here. When I was at university, I was educated that if somebody says the word guaranteed market, leave the room immediately. I know that in Russia this guaranteed market, or in China guaranteed market, might be okay, but I think that as a philosophy to do an investment to the guaranteed market, it raised my bells in the sense that you are not doing something which is then competitive somewhere else, that you are doing something which is good enough for the country, but if you want to then, for example, sell the products to the rest of the world, perhaps it's not good enough because it was done based on the sealed contract guaranteed market. So I am totally against that word, totally. I do understand in certain industries, in certain strategic areas it might be, but in the general world it's really, really bad. I think the other thing which irritates me in this technology transfer discussion is that we talk in Russia too much about business to business and very physical products, manufacturing products, industrial products, infrastructure products. I do understand why it is so, but if we think about, if the headline of the forum is the economy and investments, people are investing to the future, not to the history. So that's why I would like to talk more about what technology transfer means in knowledge businesses, in innovative businesses. And now I come to your question. I am doing, on top of my work here in Skolkova companies or with Poczta Russia or Poczta Bank or whatever, we are doing here a quite big investment, a $100 million investment in Russia. And as an investor, I don't think that Russia is any special there, because I don't never invest to any project in Russia or in China or US. I just invest to the project, and then I need technology from all over the world for it. So for example, in this our case, I just calculated, we have people, knowledge, technology from 8 countries. And we don't call it technology transfer because it's a natural thing that we have to do it. We have not had any problem in that project to get technologies and technology suppliers to come to Russia, honestly speaking. It's in the area of high-tech agriculture area. And I haven't seen such a problem at all. What we have had problem, and this is your question, that there are too little people in Russia who are willing and who are able, mainly willing, many are able but willing to have the dialogue and actually work in that physical transfer of the technology. Because when you talk about knowledge transfer, it's not that you buy a ship and it comes here. It's not that you buy a drawing and it comes here and then you start manufacturing. It's actually long-lasting collaboration between people. And especially now under the current politics, even Russians are thinking that this technology transfer is somehow prohibited, that it's not okay.
So we do not know how to do it, right? So,
no,
or it's not natural part of our culture?
The technology transfer in startup or in big companies needs trust between people. It needs fundamental trust. And Russians are wonderful travelers. You are everywhere in the world on the sunny beaches as a tourist, but then you don't have so much of trusted relations trust relations in the business. Finland has the same problem, by the way. Finland has precisely the same, perhaps our joint historical roots or something. But what I mean by this is that my observation is there is no problem to get new technology transfers, even the latest technology come to Russia. But if you want to do it, your own team needs to be ready for the transfer process, so to say. It doesn't happen in Ritz-Carlton bar. It happens in the working workshops and discussions, and it's not only language. Language is one part of it. It's a mutual trust between people. Then it is possible. And once again, the future of Russia is not in the physical products only. It's not in manufacturing, because the Chinese and Taiwanese will anyway beat this game, so to say, and Africans in coming 10 years. But the Russian has knowledge assets, and to make those products best in the world, you desperately need, like any country needs, a knowledge transfer from all over the world, and then you always design a product which is for the global market, never for the secured Russian market, because in my world such a market does not exist. Спасибо.
Спасибо. Спасибо.
Thank you so much. I have a comment. So World Skills Russia is a program which was launched not so long ago, and we all know about it. And it is very popular, spoken about. A very well-known project, which is in use from 1953. 72 countries are participating in this country. And, Robert, I've got a question. This international practice, best practice, how can it be used in Russia in order to develop our technologies? And how can we use it practically speaking? Thank you, Alexander. Very often I try to go beyond the those agenda given by a moderator. AFSO standards and development. The first thing I'd like to say that I am in the same position as Maxim. We have to first of all, help each other and support each other. If we look at the developments into Roskills, these are vendor tenders for those who would like to be at the center of their profession. Well, the key in technology is not to switch standards from standard to, I mean, knowledge, but people. And here, what I'm involved in, I am ready to support.
Why this is required to do? The thing is, when you maintain that in addition to technologies as they exist, you have to develop them. It's up to the people to do. You cannot robotize it. Robots cannot do that. Maybe 200 years way down the road, when the well-developed thinking technologies are available, it will be possible, but today it isn't. And within the tangible time frame, it is not available. So another thing which is, the whole world is searching for, and Russia inclusive, the competition among skilled has restrictions. As usually they compete within the framework of a single technology. From our standpoint, it would be interesting to compete technologies and people, because sometimes it's of critical importance, and there's no public instrument. So what I'm speaking, if the contest on developing the slab to be put into the rocket, to be just like Falcon land on the same platform, just we can use hybrid approach, but these are different approaches. What is more efficient? Which one is cheaper? This is the contest, and just to put through Skillsoft competences, this works, and I think think this is yet another element that can be introduced into Russia in collaboration with other countries, what Pekka mentioned. So why we are not trusted? Because we are lacking the integration projects. We can involve country into its further development. Thank you very much. The question, Alexander, may I just a comment, just provoking, because maybe there'll be other presenters when we are saying about export history and to see as an end product resulting from transfer. Well, we see the future whether we should end up with the final assembly or set up the production lines which we are losing competition to China and other countries. And as of today, we see that setting up the innovative things in Russia, you can sell IP and earn reasonable money on it without having headache with the production that are here. So I'm amused today when I'm bringing the foreigners to a special room where we carry out the painting primer, applying, and I'm just looking for a foreigner where why we're doing that, because usually drawings are sent to a plant and but we're not sharing it with somebody because we're putting the primer ourselves. So the issue of selling licenses IP, not ready items, is doable for our situation, and it's sort of a solution. And maybe Maxim will develop this issue, and the potential may be even higher than if compared to the end products. Well, yeah, there's a point of just zero costs. Just there's a volume and a batch. So if the economics works, we have to localize production. So we might approach different aspects, but this is localization of competences too. So without having access to base technologies, and in Novosibirsk, there's a company making the medical items and prosthetics, and Mrs. Mamonova, who is investing, and just she's asking me, I'm a medical doctor, I know how to make implants, but I cannot put the I cannot place the orders to somebody. So and if the large-scale production starts, the exports to foreign countries can be mastered. It's a very good comment. Localization of this is a wrong approach. So we should speak about a joint effort between regions and the industry, our development institutes that we have. The strategy should be developed for each niche and each group of products, and to find the percentage of localization. If we consider the issue from the standpoint of Ordinance 719, so we should be differentiating, and there is no just no single approach to various industries. It's good that you mentioned the Ordinance 719. We understand how the battle progresses, and the main thing is the percentage. What is the share between the import and export, and even IP issue? When it's even mentioned by Ordinance 719, it's doesn't have any ground. It's just a number in the text. So everything is very subtle. Thank you. Well, we have a presenter, Daniel. The house development industry is considered by many people as a very traditional, conservative, not modern, not innovative, just there's a cement. So today we can speak about the modern technologies developed which bring this industry to a new level, the whole industry. So I'd like to ask you, your company, Etalon Invest, Are you using the modern technologies that are actively applied abroad but not applied in Russia? And what instruments of transfer of technologies from abroad to Russia can be most effective and applicable to our market? Thank you. Thanks for a question. I disagree that you say that, well, maybe the real estate market is conservative, and we do our best to be proactive, to be outstripping. It's difficult to bring down the costs, so that all technologies, energy efficient, usually start with increasing the costs, and the market is pretty volatile. We have to bring down the costs anyway. And when we speak about not transfer but application of Western technologies, and we started using the BIM technologies, and we're promoting it over the last 2-3 years. And I think the breakthrough happened in this area. What is BIM technology? 5D modeling, where on 3D model we overlay the time and resource. And I think not only myself, the Minister of Construction Industry are very optimistic on bringing down the costs on assembly and construction work by 30%. I'll be more cautious and say 7 to 10% of the cost saving, and I feel that this is not only the area that can be developed in the areas where even in the West they're not used. We can apply it to the management. The electronic passport can be replaced by 3D models. We started applying this approach in the labor safety, and we in HSE. And we got results when we monitor using BIM technology according to 7 items each point. And speaking about transfer of technologies, direct transfer of technologies in construction is hardly feasible, as the transfer implies just what is transferred is applied. Maybe some drawing, making programs, software can be used as a transfer technologies. Box solutions should be adapted for our realities. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are just exhausting the time of our session, and we have to wrap up. And I'd like to say that 2 years ago, it just happened that I was moderating the session when Alexander Galushka became the minister of the Far East Ministry, and we were discussing the plans of the ministry, what should be done, what tasks should be addressed. And about 1 month ago at the Far East forum, I was a moderator, and Galushka was speaking about the tangible things. And I would like to wish Maxim that in 1 year or 2 years we gather in the same audience, and you tell us what we'll have done, and I wish you every success. And I will end so that by the time you will be paid wages. So, Maxim, just imagine you are in an elevator and you just drive 1 minute with Mr. Putin, and you can ask anything. What you'd be asking? Well, I have 2 stories, regional, and maybe I won't stay away from saying it. So, give me a corporate power over the state corporations, and I will reassemble the major part of industry in Russia, and what we are buying now will be buying a more modern, cheaper, better. So the corporate solutions are required, no more than that. So if today the general director is better have the full assembly line, because his compensation depends on the scope of work and on the capital. He's not just mad person to outsource this and payment painting. So this is the secret. The devil hides in detail. We have to reassemble the industry based on new models. Thank you very much. Thank you for a very interesting discussion.